Oh no, she doesn't ask permission. She sips her wine, breaks the rules, and devours you like dessert. Joelle Babula's Infidelity Rules is less romance and more emotional arson. It's hot, messy, and gloriously unrepentant. Quinn Davis is 6 feet of trouble in high heels, built like a goddess, carved like temptation, and wrapped in emotional Kevlar. She's bulletproof until desire finds her cracks. Welcome to 50 Days of Grey. Tonight, we don't ask for forgiveness, we ask for more. Best way to sell books is to get in front of people, whether it's on podcasts, in their ear, or in their face, right?
Yes, I'm learning that. Absolutely.
The way for authors to really get to the top is to make sure they get on as many radio shows as possible. Like, you can do it every day. That would be great.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I've heard authors on NPR, and I go out and buy their book because it sounds great. I feel like I connected to them over the radio, so it makes sense.
So, normally I like to do a little bit of warm-up stuff, what you might call conversational foreplay. Is that okay if we begin?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's your favorite sandwich?
Actually, a tomato sandwich with homemade mayonnaise. You can throw in some bacon and lettuce and make it a BLT, but the homemade lemon mayonnaise and really good bread and tomatoes.
Do you make your own mayo?
I do, yes.
Okay. And you don't trim the crust from your sandwiches, do you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, here's a tougher one. Which wine smells most like sex?
That's a great question. Yeah. I would say a really old, dusty, like 1970s Burgundy.
What's always in your fridge, no matter how chaotic life gets?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese from which region?
Honestly, I'm in the Cheese of the Month Club from Murray's Cheese in New York City.
Uh-huh.
So they send me a shipment, and there's always a different blue cheese in there. But I do love a classic Stilton. California, Sonoma County makes some good blue cheeses. So definitely blue cheese, green olives, and artichoke hearts always.
Oh, that's a nice little snack.
Yes, absolutely.
If you were a wine, Joelle, would you be bold or soft and slippery?
I would be probably soft and slippery and easy drinking.
What constitutes a seduction dinner?
Steak tartare to start with.
You women get so aggressive when you eat raw meat.
It's probably true. My husband knows better than to stick his hand in my plate.
Uh-huh.
Cacio e pepe with really toothsome bucatini and a cheese course for dessert.
Okay, now so that works on you. Now, what if you were preparing something for someone else?
Let's see. So it depends on the season. In the summer, I would do soft shell crème when they're in season here in Chesapeake Bay. If it's my husband, probably beef bourguignon or a risotto with mushrooms. My friends really seem to like my Indian and Vietnamese cooking. So if I was having friends over, I'd probably pull out a really spicy Thai, Vietnamese, or Indian.
Are you self-taught in the kitchen?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Do you buy the whole spices, roast them, and then grind them?
It depends on my time frame, right? So yes, if I have the time. If I just got home from work and I'm starving and I'm throwing things together, I will use pre-ground. But I go through my spices quickly, so they're pretty fresh.
Right. Okay, shifting gears. Toilet paper, over or under?
I honestly could care less, but my husband likes it over, so I try and remember.
So whatever hubby wants, hubby gets, right?
In that realm, yes.
What's your most seductive habit that you pretend is accidental?
Oh, man.
You're thinking, why isn't Matthew just talking to me about my book? So would you rather give or receive, whether that's emotionally, physically, or gift giving? What's your default mode?
Oh, I like to give gifts. I really like to surprise people.
So that's kind of a love style for you, is giving gifts to folks.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I like to give gifts.
Have you noticed that in the last few years, people pleasing has gotten a bad name instead of one that should be cherished?
Yes, it has a negative connotation now.
But it shouldn't, right? I mean, I've always been a people pleaser, and I don't think I'm weak. I don't think I'm a pussy. I love to take care of people. It makes me feel good.
Yes, I think some people pleasers go a little too far and don't stand up for themselves as much as they should.
Right.
Which isn't necessarily, I think people pleasers have gotten a bad rap. Absolutely.
So, Joelle, what's sexier, restraint or recklessness?
Oh gosh, it kind of depends on my mood, but I think restraint actually. So Quinn is very different. I'm the opposite. I actually think restraint.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Quinn, and she's the lead person in your book, right?
Oh, yes.
We're going to talk a lot about her, which is really just another facet of yourself, isn't it?
Parts of her, yes. Parts of her, absolutely not. But yes, there's a little bit of me in Quinn and a little bit of Quinn in me.
Right. Now, the soundtrack of your home, would it be more Beyonce or Bebop Deluxe?
Can I choose a third option?
Oh, absolutely.
It would be disco, 100%.
Are you a disco girl?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, you talk about negative connotations. Disco, oh my
God. That's okay. I embrace disco. I used to have a disco ball in my garage. I had bell bottoms.
Did you have the big hair?
My hair won't get big. I wish it would. No matter what I do, it's not going to happen.
Do you think desire fades or does it just change its costume?
I think it changes its costume.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think as someone in a very long-term relationship, I've been married for going on 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah. You just have to pay attention and recognize the changes and kind of dive in. And so, yes, I think it just changes its costume. That's a lovely way to put it. I love that.
Right. What's one thing you do that makes you feel ultra powerful, even if no one else sees it?
Ultra powerful. Well, I can tell you what, finishing a manuscript makes you feel ultra powerful.
Oh, yeah. Your life had a warning label. What would it say?
Don't go in hungry.
You built for comfort or speed?
Comfort.
Okay.
Goodness. My high school track coach once compared me to a statue. That's how fast I was running. And that's a very literal response, but I am definitely more methodical and slow in my pace of writing, in my running, and how I take care of patients as a nurse. I very much like to take everything in and chew it and digest it before I make any big leaps, usually.
Methodical, thoughtful, that kind of thing. You really process before you speak or do.
Usually, yes.
Your primary character is named Quinn, right? She's a talented sommelier. And
yes.
Tell us a little bit about her, because I read the book and I loved it, but I want to see how you frame it.
So Quinn is wildly successful in her career. She has made fabulous choices with her friendships. She has a fabulous family, but she has made terrible choices when it comes to relationships. She is feisty and bold, unapologetic, and knows what she wants in everything, but again, relationships and men. So she's created this very curated world for herself to protect her heart and kind of move forward in the world, determined to never, ever fall in love.
There's a lot about the development of Quinn, a way for her to confront her emotional baggage, because what Quinn does is different than most women, or at least what most women would divulge.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to create a unique character and put her in a very unusual situation. I mean, I think everybody's had their heart broken and been through terrible breakups and kind of tiptoed back into the world of romance. But she is determined to sort of almost live her life stereotypically like a dude would, romantically speaking. She does not want commitment. She just wants brief flings. But there needs to be a way for her to, process her pain.
Yeah.
And so she slaps these rules for herself and then decides just to date married men because for her that is the safest way and the only way forward.
Now, Quinn's physicality is bold. You wrote her as a 6-foot-tall woman. She has a very commanding presence.
Yes, she does.
Was writing her body a way of reclaiming your own? Does her body resemble yours? In
height, I'm also just about 6 feet. So from that perspective, we are similar. More than that, I really wanted her physicality to reflect her personality. Strong, in your face, and bold. I mean, she is a green-eyed redhead. She's tall, and she's unapologetically who she is. I wanted that to balance each other out. Not necessarily balance each other out, but really highlight each other. Her physical characteristics, her stature. I will say, there's several scenes where she's trying to wear this constrictive, kind of sexy clothing, and she generally in her heart hates it. And that is me. I have been known to whip off a belt in the middle of a restaurant and kind of toss it on the floor or tuck it away because it's constraining me. And she does that. So we're similar from that perspective. I prefer to be comfortable than sexy, I guess.
But, practice makes perfect, Joelle.
That's right. That's what I hear.
Now, as far as Quinn being a sommelier, did she have training in that or was she self-taught? Which leads back to you.
So I'm 100% self-taught. That is just really enjoying the magic of food and wine together, going to wine tastings, reading books about wine, going to wineries. I am from California wine country, and my mother was Italian, so I grew up having water and wine as a kid. Maybe I should be saying that's probably very taboo now, but wine has been a part of my culture for my whole life. So I am self-taught. Quinn went to sommelier school, or has a certificate in wine pairing. So I definitely did a decent amount of research, but the food and wine in that book is just based on my lifelong passion of food and wine.
You handle it very well in the way that you write it. One would think that you know a lot about it.
I mean, over 20 some years of cooking, trying to figure out what pairs with what, asking sommeliers in restaurants, picking people's brains, sticking my own nose in the glass all the time. I think I've learned. And I wanted to make her approachable and not too complex or esoteric in terms of her wine knowledge as well.
Right, because a lot of people are turned off by folks who do the whole wine speak. It's like, what did they just say,
Yes. And this is supposed to be a fun beach read. I didn't want to get too bogged down in the wine, the science of the wine, all those things.
Now, Quinn, the main character, has an interesting code. She only focuses on married men, no falling in love, no interfering with happy marriages. Were these rules ever a part of your world?
No. I've always been open to falling in love. Certainly have never dated a married man, so that is not me. It's never been my thing. So yeah, definitely not my rules. No. I mean, she has some fun rules in there that I get behind, but none of them in terms of how she protects her heart or targets married men.
So tell us a little bit more about her rules and whether they were based on a morality standpoint or a survival tactic.
It's definitely both. Some of the rules kind of developed after beta readers, honestly, who just had a hard time wrapping their arms around what Quinn did and needed more of a moral structure. So that was part of it. And part of it is really just, it's also part of Quinn's own moral compass. She does understand deep down that this is not the healthiest choice for anyone, not for her, not for these relationships she's sort of getting into. So part of it makes her feel better that she doesn't, men come to her. She does not target them specifically just because they're married. She tries to suss out whether or not they're happily married. A big rule of hers is no men with children. They don't want to get involved in a family. So part of this is to just kind of assuage her own heart and mind about this. Certainly the other part is she just cannot cope with the idea of falling in love again.
She wants to have fun, but she doesn't want to fall in love.
She wants to be on that perpetual new crush ride.
Right, because that energy is like incredible, right?
It's kind of a drug. It's that perpetual high of being in this brand new love affair. And that is what she's after. I mean, that's her addiction. Every 3 or 4 months, she wants a new guy and she wants to be wined, dined, seduced without any of the commitment. So she gets out before that starts to happen.
Right. Do you think readers will root for Quinn even when she breaks her own rules?
I almost think especially when she breaks her own rules. One of the biggest ones is not falling in love. But of course, she breaks that one.
Right.
Yes. So I think as she evolves, changes, grows, meets some of the wives, and gets feedback from her sex therapist friend and her brother, who's one of her best friends, I think readers start to really root for her. she has a lot of room for growth, right? You start with her managing her pain in a very morally ambiguous way, to be nice about it. She gives me a lot of room for growth, a lot of room for change, a lot of room for introspection.
How much of Quinn's character is motivated to overcome any sort of guilt or shame that might be going on?
I think yes, quite a bit. I think that's where the rules come in, right? She, again, the no happily married men, no men with children. She does not want to break up a family. She really doesn't. And her family is so important to her. And there are scenes with her family that I think would give her some reflection later on about what she's doing and how harmful it can be to everyone. So, yeah.
There's a reference early on in the book that Quinn never wants to wear big panties or granny panties or something like that. Tell us what that's all about, because from a guy's perspective, if you ever get to the point where you get to see a girl's panties, like you've already scored. So it doesn't matter if they're big or small.
So there are two rules in the book that deal with this. The very first rule of the book is the answer is almost always yes to wearing Spanx. And I say almost because sometimes you need that extra support if you're wearing something tight and want to look great in it. But sometimes you just really want to eat your dinner and not get indigestion from this thing constricting you. And sometimes you might be thinking it might be the first time the person you're with might see you partially naked, and maybe you don't want big granny panties on. So there's that. Back when I was dating, now eons ago, so I had that battle in my head sometimes. What do I want to be able to eat? Do I want to feel constricted? Like, how likely is this guy going to see my underwear later?
Right. But like I said, from a guy's perspective, he doesn't really care.
Well, that's good to know. You're right. My husband would never care. But I think women, I've had this discussion with women all the time. There's a reason why sort of the shapewear is still huge right now. All these different brands of shapewear. It's not, honestly, for me, it's not because I feel good in it. It's because how I look when I wear it. And that's a big difference.
Right. Interesting.
I'm going to get in trouble for that.
Well, we won't edit anything. I think that it's good to go into these areas. Tell us about your love of kitty cats and whether or not your character Quinn also has.
So I have two kitties. I've had cats my whole life. I would have, I tell my husband, the best gift for me is to come home to a giant bucket of kittens. I would be that cat lady. Quinn does not have pets. I toyed with giving her cats, but I thought it would be mean to the animals. She's gone all the time. She works nights. She is doing her big social life. So I didn't want to put the kitties through that.
Totally makes sense. And I knew you must have thought about it.
I did think about it. But yeah, I love, my cats right now are outside the door because they would be driving us nuts.
I was going to ask you, where are they? You have two of them.
They're outside. I have two, Boogie Nights and Disco Biscuit.
Those are great names.
Reflects my love of disco, all things 70s. Most of my cat names have been dance related because my husband and I are big dancers. So we've had a ballroom, swing, Latin, disco. Believe it or not, there's a dance called the Hustle that we absolutely love.
And you can actually go out in public and find clubs that do disco dancing?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Dance studios, clubs, any wedding. Most kind of contemporary music you can hustle to. It doesn't have to be disco. But yeah, so most of our kitties have had dance names. So Jitterbug, Samba, Tango.
Oh, great names. What kind of over-the-top behaviors do you express and your husband express for the kitties? Do you do any special things that some people might find fault with or think that's weird?
My husband gives our older one, Boogie Nights, a shoulder ride like a toddler. The only way he wants to be held, and he wants you to walk with him over the left shoulder only. And my husband will indulge that. Yes, when he gets home from work. And my little guy, I'm acting like they're children, but my little guy.
They're our baby.
They are, yes. He loves to chase the reflection of our disco ball in the light in the morning. And he will whine at me until I spin it over and over and over again. So I spin the disco ball for the little guy in the mornings for way too long.
Where is the disco ball located?
A little disco ball planter that we have a couple of them throughout the house. And when the light hits it through the window certain times of day, you get that light reflected, and then they spin. But I have to spin them. They're not motorized.
It's a manual thing.
So in the mornings when I should be writing or working out or getting ready to go to work, I'm spinning the disco ball for my cat.
Your love of cooking, one might think that your behavior with your cats would be similar to mine. I make my cats scrambled eggs every morning, and I cook daddy chicken is what we call it. And they have that every day as part of their, routine food. So you don't cook for your kitties?
I don't. I think my husband would lose his mind.
Uh-huh. Well,
Honestly.
mine is long gone.
But I'm coming back as one of your cats because that sounds fabulous.
Oh, yeah. The daddy chicken wins them over, and the scrambled eggs every morning. And one of our kitties eats with her left hand, similar to your husband's left shoulder. So she picks up the scrambled egg with her left hand, paw, whatever you want to call it, and has at it.
That is too cute. And do you have two?
Yes.
Okay.
Smudgy and Verna teriyaki.
That's a mouthful.
It really is.
Oh, I love that. Very cute.
Oh, crazy. So since there's so much food in your world and wine and seduction and involved in Quinn's world, so you guys are interspersed. So I have to ask you, what have you eaten today?
I like breakfast salads, weirdly.
Tell us.
So I get these beautiful vegetables from the farmer's market. So I have this lovely, red romaine lettuce salad. I had roasted some bell peppers the other day. So I had strips of roasted red bell peppers, grilled eggplant, and then I plopped a couple of poached eggs on top. So that was breakfast.
Well, poached eggs on top of a salad is interesting.
Yeah, the heat kind of warms the lettuce, so it wilts it a little bit. Works better with a sturdier lettuce. So I do like it with arugula or spinach, sometimes leftover sauteed kale, but it works on anything as long as you don't let it sit for too long.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's a breakfast for you.
It can be. Yeah, that's one of my favorites, especially with the beautiful produce right now.
And so what will be your later meal this evening?
This evening, I am actually just roasting basic Dijon mustard chicken with potatoes, and we'll probably do a caprese salad because we have beautiful heirloom tomatoes, and we have fresh mozzarella from the Italian market across the street.
Ooh, yum. Now, this next question has an ulterior motive because my cousin and I are at odds as to how to cook Brussels sprouts. She likes to steam them, and I like to roast them. What do you do?
I'm a roaster.
There you go.
I am, but I will say this. I have a steam oven, and so you can steam them first and then roast them and crisp them up in the same setting, the same time, without changing anything. But
okay, so you definitely roast all the way. You got to put color on your veggies all the time. That's where the sugars are. That's
Absolutely.
where the flavor is.
Yes.
So, when you put something in water, like especially a cruciferous, it's going to smell like the worst thing in the world.
And then my house smells that way the next day still. Yes.
Right. The same thing goes with asparagus. Got to roast.
Absolutely. Roast or grill.
There you go. So this show is going straight to my cousin. She's going to know. She's outnumbered now.
You got to roast. Right. The color and whole crispiness, texture, rarely steam vegetables, just plain steamed.
Excellent. Now, Joelle, if Quinn, your main character, were a wine, what would her tasting notes be?
Wow. She would be very bold, rich. So I'm thinking licorice, dark cherry, maybe a hit of rosemary in there. So, yeah, you would not miss that on the nose.
That would be a big red.
Big red. Probably a Brunello. If you're eating something a little lighter, maybe a Montepulciano.
Mm-hmm.
But Quinn is a big Italian redhead in glass.
Right.
Absolutely. You're going to get that on the nose. You're going to taste that. Yeah. You're not going to miss her for anything.
Now, your food scenes in the book are lush, indulgent, and almost erotic. Were they written from memory or fantasy or both?
I have cooked every menu in that book multiple times. So these are go-to favorites in my house. So absolutely from memory. I love all those dishes. And I have a history of pairing wine with them. So that made it a lot easier to get through those scenes. But I mean, I cook almost every night, unless obviously I go out to dinner as well because I enjoy seeing what restaurants do. But that was from memory primarily.
Are you checking out the new restaurants?
Oh, yes.
Is there anything
Yes.
that's really hitting it out of the park right now?
Yeah, there is one called The Wren that was just on the New York Times 50 Best Restaurant list a couple days
Wow.
ago. So I have not been yet. They don't take reservations, but I'm planning to go maybe camp out with my husband on a weeknight. So that's definitely one high on my list.
Why do you think that a restaurant would have a no reservations policy?
It seems like that's happening more frequently. I don't know if it's because people make reservations and then cancel, and that really affects the bottom line, I would imagine, and just your planning. And I think restaurants are struggling right now more than ever. So I would imagine that's part of it. Yeah, I think that's probably a huge part of it.
But the upside of taking reservations allows you to do inventory and knowing what to order.
That's true too. I
Yeah.
never worked in a restaurant. That didn't pop in my head initially, but
Right.
absolutely.
And also, I think that the no reservations policy is probably just a little bit of, they do it for style points and reputation.
A little bit of hype. Oh, I got in, and so now I can splash it all over social media. I think that's part of it. And it is some of the smaller restaurants in our city that only have about 20 tables or
Yeah.
less than that tend to not take reservations.
They'd like to have the lines out the door, then people will see that and want to check it out.
Yep. Yeah. It looks popular.
In the book, when Quinn is being wined and dined and seduced by her male friends and so on, is she expecting the man to always pick up the check, or does Quinn ever pick up the check?
Oh, the man's picking up the check for her. I mean, this is someone who wants that wine dine initial 3 months of mind-blowing infatuation. So
Right.
for her, the dude is getting the check. Absolutely.
Do you believe food and wine can mirror emotional states, whether it was for Quinn, your character, or for yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
Give me some examples from the book.
So when Quinn is feeling happy and comfortable in her skin, I think the food is lighter and it's more bubbles. Right? It's a lighter wine, it's bubbles. It might be that tartar, even though it's rich, it's hot, right? It's not heated. It still can be light and small. When she's feisty, I think she wants something crunchy, something she can really kind of dig into. And I definitely need. If I'm feeling feisty, I want hard shell Maryland crabs and I want the hammer. I can crack that sucker.
Well, you're so lucky that you live right there at the home of soft shell crab.
Yes. I mean, it's not an everyday thing. It's more of a one time a season kind of delicacy.
Nice. Oh, that sounds good. Sometimes you see them in sushi places.
Yes. Like a soft shell crab roll, or
Right.
It's usually tempura.
Because, anything that's battered and fried is good.
Right. That's true.
Now, you're a nurse practitioner by day. How does caring for veterans inform your storytelling and writing?
It's a good question. I do learn a lot from my patients, and I think how they process information and how they handle and deal with hurdles in their own life certainly helps inform my writing and gives me challenges for my characters to face and ways to deal with it. Not necessarily specific to Quinn in this book, but for some of my current work, I think patients, especially when you get to know them, taking care of them is a very humbling experience. And them inviting you into their world to take care of them and their family sometimes. I try and do that as a writer. I want to invite the reader into my world as well. I'm board certified in adult internal medicine, primary care.
Well, that's pretty wild to have a nurse practitioner be your primary doctor, right? I mean, I would go for it because they seem to be a little bit more involved in the patient's health than a lot of doctors who are being run by these mad schedules and quotas.
I would agree with that. And I also think there's a huge need for primary care, and doctors, get that extra training and know to look for the devours. And when something's complicated, I definitely like to bring them in. But in terms of just your basic bread and butter primary care, I do think nurse practitioners can really step in and take on some of those patients because we're lacking primary care providers. partly from what you just said. Doctors especially are forced to see more and more patients in primary care. And there's a lot of burnout.
People get into it for the right reasons, but then that's hard to keep going. And then when you're getting less time with your doctor, speaking from a patient's perspective, it's very difficult to feel like you're being rushed, just like it is in a conversation when someone's forcing you to speak quickly and get the hell out of there.
And that happens more and more in medicine. Unfortunately, 15-minute appointments, you have to come in with one thing, maybe two. And I think everybody goes into medicine for the most part for all the right reasons.
Right. Same with people going to politics. They go in for the right reasons and something happens.
Yes. Or you're just not aware of, I didn't aware of how much insurance can dictate your care and the battle that can happen when you're just trying to use your education and evidence-based medicine to take care of your patient. And it's being dictated by people who don't have any medical training. That's extremely frustrating.
You also were a former journalist. What did you write about?
So I started out in just hard news, essentially, just do regular beat reporting. And I trickled over eventually into covering health and medicine, which I loved, which eventually really sparked my lifelong interest in science and medicine, but I really got that ball rolling. And I loved the science behind it. I loved the research. I loved talking to providers. So really enjoyed that beat. And then
let's take a look at your background as a nurse practitioner and a former journalist. How does that shape your approach to writing fiction?
Journalism is a phenomenal skill set to have. As a reporter, you need to create snappy leads. You need to keep things fast-paced. You have to keep things fast, get in and out. So that definitely helped. Hit them with the big points and get them out. So that was helpful. And the interviewing skills actually came in handy when trying to get color, when talking to sommeliers, when talking to, there's a therapist in my novel, so when talking to therapists. For my current work, I talk to a forensic nurse. So those interviewing skills played a big role. So journalism has been invaluable in terms of actually producing and writing fiction.
Now, Infidelity Rules is your debut book, yeah?
Yes.
So we're working hard on promoting that. Do you have ideas for future works?
So my second manuscript is done and polished, and I'm currently shopping. So I have a second manuscript out. I have a couple ideas for my third that I'm playing with. I will say it's challenging to juggle launching Infidelity Rules, querying my new manuscript, and work and cooking. So I'm very eager to get my third story started. That's
exciting. Your character, Quinn, where does she end and Joelle begin?
Another great question. I don't know if there's the hard line is at the infidelity. But outside of that, we're very blended, sort of like a wine, right? We both are really passionate about food and wine, very passionate about friendships, about feeding people. But it ends when I think Quinn is way more extroverted than I am naturally, very social, likes to be in the midst of things, and she's not going to sit down and write quietly by herself. So that's a hard line right there as well. And I like being in a long-term relationship. I like the comfort and coziness and the sweatpants of that.
Don't have to worry about the big panties anymore.
Right. Right. I'm a ponytail, no makeup, stretchy clothes kind of girl through and through.
Given that Quinn is just such a big character, do you think that there's some sort of misunderstood aspect of the mistress culture?
I think I touch on that a little bit. I like people to, and this comes from my journalism days, and I also wrote columns for a while. I like to push people to think about things that make them uncomfortable and maybe make them think about the world and how people behave in a different light. Now, I feel like I do this gently and a fun way with this book, but that's not going to be the case with future books.
Right.
I do think what Quinn's doing, my hope is as she sort of gets gently pushed by her friends and the other wives, that readers maybe really think about where they position and prioritize their most important relationships. I think the people we love most in the world, in our life, sometimes get our short shrift. And I hope that what Quinn does and how she grows and who she meets along the way pushes readers to really think about their relationships.
What was the wildest note you got from an early reader or editor when you were in the process of doing this?
I can't sell infidelity to women.
Ah.
That was a very initial reaction. Fun read, love the food and wine. I think Quinn's a hoot, but I cannot sell infidelity to women. Now that changed, that attitude changed. I know this book is not for everyone. I also had readers tell me, it's kind of a fantasy of theirs to constantly be on those first dates and have that constant romance, which I think anybody that's been in a long-term relationship, when you're dealing with the cat throwing up on the carpet and dinner and somebody else is sick, work is piling up and there's dirty dishes, the romance can kind of get sucked away quickly.
Had a lot of dopamine there.
Right. And
yeah.
So I think it's easy to relate to Quinn in the fact that you can fantasize about just being in that perpetual state of crush and that dopamine rush. And Quinn's after that. I think anybody can relate to that.
So if Infidelity Rules were ever considered to be made into a film, who's playing Quinn?
It's a tough call because she's a little bit of an older protagonist, which I think Hollywood's getting better at. But some of I need a tall, fiery redhead. Obviously, it's easy to change the hair color. I don't have a good, do you have an answer for me? Because I honestly don't have a good answer.
Yeah, the only one who comes to mind for me for a tall female is Gina Davis, and she's probably outside the age bracket that you're writing about.
Yes. Yeah. No, yes. Her or, obviously Julia Roberts, right? The queen of
right.
Tall, absolutely gorgeous redheads. But I need somebody a little younger, but not, Quinn's in her late 30s.
Right.
So it makes that a little bit challenging.
How do you balance humor and heartbreak without diluting either when you're writing?
I think readers kind of make that a little bit easy. I think they want both. So when I'm writing, sometimes put on my reader hat, and when I need a break from heartbreak or from something intense, as a reader, when I'm like, I gotta take a break, I know it's time to introduce something fun, sassy, easy. So I think just being a reader helps me do that as a writer.
The emotional arc has to reach both extremes at some point, right?
Yes.
Is that something you had to play with a lot?
No, I will say that for me, this book was very character driven. I did not know how it was going to end until I wrote the final paragraph. And so every day I sat down and I thought, what's Quinn going to do today? Where is she going to take? Because it is told from her perspective. It's first person from Quinn. So she really guided my day. I really followed her lead. And sometimes I would wonder, this is my first crack in fiction, I wondered if I was doing it right. If I was supposed to let her lead me, if I was supposed to do something different. And I've learned and grown as a writer. But that really made the process for me so much fun, just to kind of wing it every day.
When did you first think about writing it?
I had been toying with different manuscripts for a while, and then COVID happened, and my office closed, and we were all miserable. We weren't getting to go out, see our friends, go out to dinner, and I needed something fun. I needed an escape, and I wanted to write about food and wine. I knew that. So I was out on a long run, and I was toying with the idea of making my protagonist a chef. That seemed complicated, having never worked as a chef. So I came to me the sommelier part, and she grew out of that. It wasn't about infidelity. There wasn't a part of it initially, but I wanted a bold protagonist who approached life very differently. I do think a lot of it was the product of being stuck at home during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was a huge escape for me to sit down and lose myself in Quinn's world.
Without giving too much away, the ending isn't tidy at all. It's emotionally honest. Did writing it feel like closure or confrontation?
I guess for me, it's closure because I know actually what happens now. So I'm very tempted to write a sequel. But her journey is the most important part of this story. And I think the ending reflects that. reflects that more than the romance part. And to me, that was very important towards the end as she came full circle. So I knew the ending might be a little controversial, and I've really enjoyed hearing your feedback about it. I'm delighted that I'm getting requests for sequels now, as soon as possible, which is awesome. There's just great to hear as a writer. So for me, like I said, the ending's closure, but there definitely could be more.
I thought that many times. The book hits so many different elements of our lives that are not popular and perhaps formerly hidden that people like to look at. Food, and wine, and romance. Those are biggies. Where can people pick up a copy of Infidelity Rules?
Anywhere books are sold.
That makes it nice.
That makes it easy. But you can, obviously Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's digitally available if you like to e-read. It's going to be released on audio in a couple weeks, which is super fun. It was so fun to pick the actress or the actor that's reading, because I knew it as soon as I heard her. That's Quinn's voice.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yes. So I am so excited for readers to hear Quinn and Marcus and all those characters in there.
That's fantastic. Really good. I'm so glad you came, but let's finish with a couple of other questions.
Sure.
What's the perfect beverage for pizza?
I'm going to say this. It depends on the topping. But for me, if it's a red sauce pizza, it's going to be an Italian red.
Okay. So you definitely go in wine with your beverages.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. There's not even another choice for me, unless it's water. You got mushrooms on that pizza. You're going to want something earthy. If you're doing more of the margarita style with just fresh basil and mozzarella, light like a Barbera d'Asti. If you don't want to do red, bubbles, it's great with just about everything. Yeah.
And it is delicious.
Yes. Especially with fried chicken. That's one of my favorite combos. It's fried chicken and bubbles.
Fried chicken is so old world. Do you do it at home or do you go out for it?
I tend to go out for it. It makes a big mess in my kitchen. I set off the fire alarm, the smoke alarm every single time.
You have all these weird contraptions in your kitchen for opening up the bottles.
Things to cook with. Like I said, my steam oven is a dream. I'm still playing with that, learning the ropes.
That's kind of a professional unit. That sounds really cool.
Yes, so I'm learning to bake sourdough bread in it.
Okay.
Because steam plays a big role in making that sort of chewy but crispy crust.
Right.
So I'm futzing around with that, which is great fun. I'm not really a baker other than that.
So the whole sourdough thing, did that kick in right around COVID?
Actually, more recently, when my favorite sourdough baker stopped making bread locally, and I decided to kind of figure out how to do it myself. So I have my little starter. His name is Giuseppe.
Oh, you named your starter?
Yes, I keep him in the fridge. I feed him. I talk to him. Having another pet.
A little less personality than the kitties, but still really vital.
Definitely.
Wow. Well, Joelle, thank you so much for joining me here on 50 Tastes of Grey. I hope you had a nice time.
I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Say aloha to our audience.
Aloha, watchers, readers. And
Okay,
mahalo.
Oh, mahalo. Do you know what the word mahalo means?
Is that thank you?
It is. And I'll tell you a funny story about that word, because you're a writer and you'll appreciate this. A lot of people hear that word, but when they come to Hawaii, they see mahalo written on the side of trash bins. And so they automatically think by association that the word mahalo means trash.
Oh, no.
And it doesn't mean that. It means thank you for throwing away your trash.
All right. Good to know.
So now you know your aloha means everything. Hello, goodbye, I love you, and all that.
Well, aloha, mahalo. I had a great time with you today.
Thank you so much.